Coming up, the search continues for the OWSLEY County Sheriff, who's now facing an assault charge after a fight at a high school basketball game.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. State police are still searching for an Eastern Kentucky sheriff with an active warrant out against him. The OWSLEY County Sheriff is accused of assaulting a teenage girl during a fight at a basketball game in Perry County. And it's not his first controversial incident during a high school game. WYMT's Zach Hawk has the latest.
Kentucky State Police continue to search for OWSLEY girls basketball coach Brent Lynch after fourth-degree assault charges were filed against him Tuesday afternoon.
That fight was investigated by one of our troopers. It was determined through that investigation that OWSLEY County Sheriff Brent Lynch had actually assaulted a female during that altercation.
WYMT received statements from officials at both schools. Perry Central Superintendent Jonathan JETT said, in part, on Friday, December 3rd, 2021, there was an altercation between the Perry Central Lady Commodores and the OWSLEY County Lady Owls basketball teams. The teams were separated immediately, and one player from each team was ejected from the contest by the KHS AA basketball officials working the game. Out of respect for the Kentucky State Police and their investigation, I have no further comment at this time. OWSLEY County Superintendent Dr. Tim Bobrowski said the following. An incident occurred during the December 3rd varsity girls basketball game at Perry Central High School between Perry Central High School and OWSLEY County High School. OWSLEY County is fully complying with KHS AA's recommendations. The OWSLEY County varsity girls assistant coach was suspended 1 game per KHS AA's recommendations. Both teams have suspended 4 student athletes for 2 games. In 2019, Lynch entered the stands during an argument with a fan. That happened at a district tournament game between Estill and OWSLEY counties. In Perry County, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
Now again, 4 student athletes from both schools have been suspended following a KHSAA recommendation. Nobody from the OWSLEY County Sheriff's Office is talking tonight. Now to an update on what's being called a death investigation in Perry County. Police say 1 person died as a result of a shooting in the Jeff community near the old Dilscombs High School. It happened around 5:20 this evening. The Perry County Sheriff's Office is investigating and no other details have been released yet. We will update this story on our website when we learn more. A father in Western Kentucky is facing a sex trafficking charge after police say he sold his young daughter. Kentucky State Police said it launched an investigation in November after learning the child gave birth in March of this year. 34-year-old Diego Alonzo Perez of Beaver Dam is charged with human trafficking and commercial sex activity. KSP said the child had been living with her buyer since August of 2020. That man is charged with 3rd-degree rape. A man in Laurel County is facing strangulation charges. Police arrested 30-year-old Jacob Tyler Johnson Monday night. They say Johnson strangled a woman and threw her on the ground. Police were able to find visible marks on the woman's neck and throat. He's being held at the Laurel County Detention Center. The Kentucky Court of Appeals says the city of Pikeville can continue banning guns inside the Appalachian Wireless Arena, according to the Kentucky Court of Appeals. The Lexington Herald-Leader reports the arena had a sign posted banning firearms, which was challenged by the Kentucky Concealed Carry Coalition. The city must pass an ordinance, however, to stop people with concealed carry permits from bringing their guns inside.
It was another quiet day weather-wise around the mountains today. After a few flurries this morning, we broke out into a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon and actually gave us a pretty nice day. It was, though, a little bit chilly. I-64 at Moorhead, you see the time-lapse camera out there. Actually see the sun, you see the sun and the moon and some stars setting as well out there this evening. I-75 at Mount Vernon, a quiet scene as well at this time. You see what we're talking about there as we continue to see that quiet scene. Highs today got up into the middle and upper 40s in most spots, not far from normal. It was 50 in Williamsburg, 52 in Middlesboro. this afternoon and 52 into Jonesville as well. Current temperatures out there, we're in the upper 20s, low to mid 30s. We're going to continue dropping as we head through the nighttime hours tonight, thanks to clear skies out there. So as we head into tonight, we expect to see those temperatures fall into the mid 20s with mostly clear skies and cold temperatures. Enjoy the calm weather while we have it now, because we've got some big time changes on the way for the weekend. I'll detail those coming up in just a few short minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. From an I-75 bridge to broadband access, Boone County, Kentucky issues are being brought to the national stage in Washington. Boone County's Judge Executive Gary Moore joined other county leaders from across the nation today at an event hosted by the National Association of Counties. They were in our nation's capital to discuss their local COVID-19 response and infrastructure. Moore shared Boone County's accomplishments in broadband since the start of the pandemic. He also discussed goals for the new infrastructure funding, like the I-75 bridge project. Moore says he wants to put politics aside and get to work.
Many people are upset about how much money the federal government's spending, who voted for the bill, who voted against the bill. But I will say, now that the bill has passed and the money's flowing, I believe it's our role as local elected officials to fight for our share of that funding. It's going to get spent. It's going to get spent somewhere. I think our taxpayers have paid that money in. We've got to fight to make sure that our proportionate amount comes back to our constituents.
Moore says he will meet with members of the Biden administration on Friday to discuss funding for Boone County through the American Rescue Plan. More than 200 million Americans have now been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, but the country's battle with the pandemic continues with a new spike in cases in some parts of the U.S. And Pfizer says its booster may offer significantly more protection against the Omicron variant. CBS's Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
The Omicron variant has now spread to more than 20 states, but of the several dozen Americans infected so far by the new strain, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky says nearly all of them have become only mildly ill. She told the Associated Press that most were fully vaccinated, but new numbers released by Pfizer show 2 shots may not be enough. However, the lab study revealed a booster shot increased protection 25-fold.
That's really positive news, that it can blunt the infection, no hospitalizations, and hopefully no serious illness.
The booster shot could be the answer to the challenge that we're facing with the Omicron.
Pfizer said just 2 doses should still prevent severe disease or death. President Biden cautiously welcomed the report.
That's a lab report. There's more study going on. But that's very, very encouraging.
Even with record numbers of Americans now getting a booster, only about a quarter of eligible Americans have had one. Just as COVID hospitalizations jumped nearly 30% in the past month, driven by the Delta variant.
Here on Capitol Hill, President Biden's vaccine mandate for millions of American employees is facing opposition in the Senate.
The joint resolution is passed.
Democrats Joe Manchin and John Tester joined with Republicans to support a measure to block the vaccine or test requirement for private businesses. The move is largely symbolic, since the measure is unlikely to get a vote in the House. But the president's vaccine mandates are facing multiple challenges in court. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Federal judges have temporarily blocked the administration's vaccine rules for large businesses and federal contractors while legal proceedings continue. It's been an ongoing trend, lawmakers cracking down on distracted driving with new legislation, but Kentucky's been in the slow lane. Currently, it is only illegal to text and drive in the state. Drivers are still able to make a phone call or use their device while behind the wheel. A draft bill would make using your hand to operate a personal communication device while driving illegal, and also prohibit drivers from unbuckling their seatbelt to reach for a device.
You notice even when you're on the roads, you'll see a lot of people swerving back and forth on the roadway over the center line, things of that nature, and I'd almost say 9 times out of 10 you'll see a cell phone in someone's hand.
Lawmakers cannot make any decisions on any proposed legislation until the next legislative session begins on January 4th. But sponsors of the bill say if the General Assembly adopts this measure, there would be a grace period for where drivers would receive just a warning. The Carroll Act has passed in the U.S. House. Congressman Andy Barr has spearheaded this measure in Congress. It's named in honor of his late wife, Carol, who died last year from sudden cardiac arrest. The Carroll Act would put more money toward research for valvular heart disease. This afternoon, Congressman Barr said this will honor his wife by saving lives.
Well, we want to save lives, and we want to give families with loved ones who suffer from valvular heart disease, specifically mitral valve prolapse, the tools to know whether or not their condition is life-threatening or if it's a typically benign valve issue.
The bill would also call on the CDC to increase public awareness on valvular heart disease and ways to prevent sudden cardiac death. The bill still needs to pass in the Senate. Attorney General Daniel Cameron was in the mountains today. He was in Bell County and later met with Harlan County Chamber of Commerce officials to discuss plans to help Kentucky with the opioid epidemic. The Attorney General said there is new help on the way coming from a global settlement with AmerisourceBergen, Cardinal Health, and Johnson & Johnson. But in order to prove the entire state is in this together, they need each city and county to register for the National Opioid website.
Part of my job is I travel across Kentucky, and we have been trying and endeavoring over the last year or so, especially since the pandemic has sort of slowed down. We've been trying to get back out to our communities across the Commonwealth. And part of doing that, I've been trying to be a cheerleader, so to speak, and encourage our counties and cities to sign up at that National Opioid website.
The Attorney General thanked those that have signed up on the website, but continues to encourage those that have not to do it soon. We want to highlight another student tonight who won the Ralph Gabbard Memorial Broadcasting Scholarship. Cameron Cottle at Hazard High School has a passion for athletics, playing football and basketball his whole life. With the $1,000 scholarship, he hopes to get into sports broadcasting at Morehead State University. Cottle says that career choice makes the most sense.
I think it's talking about something I'm passionate about and being an atmosphere of sports. That's always been a great atmosphere no matter where you go.
Cottle says he hopes to someday host his own sports broadcasting show or podcast. His inspirations include other hosts like Matt Jones and Joe Rogan. Dollar General had a big surprise planned for students, teachers, and administrators at Lone Jack Elementary School today in Bell County. $50,000 was donated as part of Dollar General's Reading Revolution program. The money will go towards technology programs and helping purchase books, computers, and other educational supplies the school might need. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, if you get a call from a family member in trouble, watch out because it might be a scam. Find out how you can avoid being a victim.
And we're in a bit of a break right now, but our active weather pattern looks to ramp up big time as we finish the work week. I'll have the full details on the way.